When one looks at the world, it seems that every animal has its role to play. Bees pollinate, elephants restructure the savanna, beetles help decay dead stuff, and koalas, well, they eat and sleep. But we humans seem to be the only exception. If history is any guide, our role or drive seems to be deeply rooted in acquiring knowledge, power, and resources, gold and people, among other things. Human intelligence has allowed us power over nearly all ecosystems on Earth, and throughout history, competition has been the catalyst for this progress. It is no different now in the globalized business environment. Since the dawn of industrialization, the environment and our societies had always been sacrificed to the gods of competition, cost-cutting, and consumerism. So many forests were burned in the fires of industry to build our cities and homes. So many beautiful hills and mountains eroded for so-called precious metals, without taking any precautionary measure against floods and landslides that could destroy lives and property in nearby communities. We sacrificed public good for corporate benefit. This has been how businesses have worked so far. But what is different today from all of history is that the world itself has never been at stake, and we cannot live the way we have if we want to live the way we want. Never before in history have corporations wielded so much power, and as the old adage goes, with great power comes great responsibility. And it is precisely this responsibility that we have to remember to nature and to our fellow creatures with whom we share the beautiful bounties of the world. This is the core principle that necessitates sustainability in entrepreneurship and business at large. But what is sustainable entrepreneurship? Well, the clue lies in the word itself, sustainability, the ability to sustain. In the context of entrepreneurship, it is the ability to sustain oneself, one's community, one's society, and the earth. It is as much about ensuring that companies are run in a profitable and transparent manner as it is about creating bonds of trust among communities in an inclusive and equitable way. Trust, especially between the public and the private sector, is the thread that forms the garland of a diverse, prosperous, and equitable economy. Sustainability is about entrepreneurs pursuing a purpose-driven business rather than simply a profit-driven business. A venture can only truly be called sustainable when it creates profitable, equitable, and inclusive value for its target community, area, or sector. But of course, many will say that value is always subjective. As my business professors would say, a thing's value is whatever people are willing to pay for it. But as we have seen earlier, when we orient our values on a price-driven model, the environment and our society pays the price. Rather, we should focus on creating what Michael Porter and Mark Kramer call shared value, which is finding business opportunities in social problems. This is a very different approach from corporate social responsibility, which, in my opinion, are simply PR initiatives motivated more by legal obligation than by true generosity. It is but a symptom of our systemic lack of trust in the private sector. But creating shared value rises above simply a social responsibility or a legal obligation. It is about creating value by searching for and acting upon new opportunities and markets that provide tremendous social benefit. As Mohandas Gandhi once said, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Companies and entrepreneurs should realize that they are in a country that is as chock full of social problems as there are business opportunities, and pursue shared value because not all profits are created equal. Those that carry a social benefit are far better. Of course, in our case being a developing country, we need to reinforce the structural, bureaucratic and legal framework to allow the common man and woman to create sustainable value, to in turn create incisive changes to the framework itself to make it more inclusive, equitable and sustainable. It is in the interest of investors, governments, and citizens to strengthen and support businesses and organizations that are both profitable and create a lot of shared value, as opposed to one that is only profitable. Whether for profit or non-profit, companies now must aspire to be for impact. There is just that much more incentive when profit itself isn't the end goal, but instead becomes simply one metric of sustainability. This is especially true for employees and the customers, who are far more motivated by a shared mission rather than being a means to an end. Profit is important, but it is no longer sufficient. This is why sustainability-oriented businesses bring with it a redeeming difference. To survive, they have to proactively innovate, not just new, but better, more efficient and effective ways of dealing with the same problems that traditional businesses faced. When that happens, the drive of competition is channeled in a way that helps society and the ecosystem. This same drive that can and had destroyed our environment is the same power that can rebuild it. This is the beauty of sustainable entrepreneurship. Now, with a growing generation of aware individuals who possess an eclectic knowledge of the social and environmental consequences of their actions, the skills to benefit the lives of the community members, the flora, fauna, and the rest of our biodiverse heritage, we are certain to make progress on the things that we truly must value. To achieve this, a lot of things need to be changed. One of the avenues we could explore is changing the reward system that incentivizes us to act within a narrow spectrum of interests that doesn't include environmental conservation of our flora and fauna. Another is increasing awareness of the global context we live in, our place in it, and our power to effect sustainable change through policy and decision making. We have to use business practices and market mechanisms to produce positive social change. Better healthcare, better education, preserving our cultural heritage, among others. We have to change the lens through which we look at sustainability as well. In the old view, it is simply a competitive advantage through differentiation. A sustainable product is different and will appeal to a certain group of people, but I argue that it is a fundamentally much more pioneering process. It is an uncharted territory, what W. Chan Kim and Renee Mabon call the blue ocean. But the truth is that impact-oriented companies and objectives are the new blue ocean, and it is through sustainable entrepreneurship that we chart this frontier. The question then, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to sail?